You know that feeling, right? That excitement when you discover somewhere totally new, or standing in front of some like iconic building, or just soaking up a different vibe. Travel's amazing, but what happens when our collective love for exploring starts, well, damaging the very places we're flocking to? Today we're doing a deep dive into overtourism.
Yeah.
You've probably heard the term, but our mission here is to really unpack it. Look beyond just, crowded streets and see the surprising impacts, what it means for these destinations, and what it means for us as travelers too. We're drawing on some really insightful material today, specifically looking at balancing that prosperity tourism brings with, well, preserving the place itself.
Right. And what's really striking, and the source material hammers this home, is that overtourism is, well, it's a paradox, isn't it? Tourism brings money, jobs. It's a lifeline for so many places. But when it's just unchecked growth, it can actually destabilize the whole local way of life. It's not just like feeling cramped walking through Venice.
Yeah.
It's about the actual community fabric starting to fray. The book talks about how this boom in short-term rentals driven by tourists obviously can push housing costs up so high.
Oh, wow.
That the people who've always lived there, the local shops, they just can't afford it anymore.
So they get priced out.
Exactly. You end up with these kind of transient zones, the authentic local life that people wanted to see in the first place. It disappears.
That's such a critical point, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just an inconvenience for us visitors. It actually undermines the sense of home for the residents. And the changes go deeper, right? The source mentions cultural shifts, too. It's not just souvenir shops replacing, local bakeries. The book brings up this idea of tourism fatigue among locals.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Where it's just constant visitors asking for photos, disrupting daily life. And that can actually lead to hospitality breaking down, maybe even resentment towards tourists.
Absolutely.
Which hits right at that welcoming feeling that's so important for travel.
Precisely. And then there's the environment, obviously. The cold air is stark, and it goes beyond just general pollution, The material gives specific examples like coral reefs getting damaged by sunscreen chemicals washing off swimmers.
Right. Things you don't immediately think about.
Or the huge strain on local waste systems. Think about these small islands suddenly having to deal with, like, a city's worth of trash every day.
Wow, yeah. They're just not equipped.
Not at all. And then there's the travel itself, all the planes, the buses. It connects us, sure, but it pumps out a lot of carbon-worsening climate change, which often hits these vulnerable spots the hardest.
Okay, so we've got this picture of, like, economic displacement, cultural friction, environmental damage. It's a lot. So the big question then is, what do we do? What paths does the source suggest? Because just saying stop traveling isn't really feasible, is it?
No, exactly. And the book isn't saying that at all. It's more about a fundamental shift in how we travel. It lays out different strategies. One big area is demand management.
Okay, what does that mean?
Basically finding ways to regulate the sheer number of visitors, maybe limiting access to really sensitive spots, or having different prices for peak season versus off season.
Right.
Not to punish people, but just to manage the load, the carrying capacity, so a place isn't just totally overwhelmed. And another key thing is fostering, responsible tourism behaviors.
Educating travelers.
Yeah, helping us understand how to respect local customs, minimize our environmental footprint, think about the impact of our choices.
And it sounds like we, as the travelers, have a pretty big role to play directly too, not just following rules.
Definitely.
The source encourages things like checking out places that aren't on every single checklist, lesser known spots, or maybe visiting the famous places, but during the quieter times, the off season.
Spreading a load.
Yeah. And it also mentions making sure our money actually helps the local community, supporting local businesses directly. So the tourism income stays there instead of just leaking out to big international companies.
That's it. Being more intentional.
Right.
Yeah.
Where and how we spend.
That really is the core tension the source keeps coming back to. Tourism, it brings clear benefits. Money, jobs, development, no question. But when it's just unchecked, totally unregulated growth, it can genuinely destroy the unique character, the very essence of what made a place appealing to begin with. The material really underscores this critical point for all of us listening. We need to travel more wisely, more consciously, more respectfully, if we want these incredible places to still be here for future generations to experience.
Yeah, it really makes you think, doesn't it? Travel today, it feels easier than ever, more accessible, often, cheaper. So if our own search for adventure, for discovery, now comes with this kind of hidden cost, what's our responsibility as individuals? I mean, how do we make sure our desire to explore doesn't end up accidentally contributing to the damage of the very places we want to see?